Yeah, hello everybody and welcome back to the last session, a kind of a different format. I think we haven't had something similar the last years. A panel discussion that came up one of our spontaneous brainstorming what we could do. And we invited some of the people to this round which contributed also in the past, today, to the UI5 community.
And the good part about this hybrid event is that we can have guests from remote.
Down under.
Down under, yes.
Jakob, hi.
Jakob, hi.
And then there is from India, I hope we can see him as well, yeah. It's Nitish.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Good to have you here.
And without further ado, I think we'd like to have you guys remote introduce yourselves. Please say your name, where you work, and what you've contributed to for the UI5 community. Probably starting with you, Nitish.
All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Nitish, and I'm the co-founder of INTEGRTR, an HR startup based out of India and Germany. My journey with UI5 started 10 years back, and over the 5 years, I've been working actively on the community side, contributing, I think starting with UI5Lab. That's a project would love to share and talk more about. I think Best of UI5 has been superseding it and is the natural successor for it. And apart from that, we're a company that works a lot on UI5 and open source, leverage a lot of open source controls. So we try to put back some of our internal tools, be it easy deployer to BTP and SAP or other utility tools. So yeah.
Thank you, Nitish. And then over to you, Jakob.
Thank you very much. So my name is Kjaer, originally from Denmark, living now on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. I've been doing UI5 since the very early beginnings, teaching myself JavaScript, etc. on the way, and have been contributing to the open source community for a while now, and pretty much started whenever I saw a gap, so that like the UI5 language assistance inside VS Code, as you've seen the Yeoman generator probably in my last session, the one login. I've also done some stuff to help with the simple proxy, etc. So whenever I see an opportunity and where I can add some value, I'll try to do my best to help. Also with the VS Code for ABAP extension, for example, on another topic. So yeah, I'm just trying to do my part. Currently, I am employed by SAP. So I joined SAP about 3 months ago.
Thank you. And I thought we could use you as somehow an example how external contribution also looks like. And then out of a sudden you said you joined SAP. Too bad. Yeah, and then we have two other colleagues in the room, also two active contributors to the UI5 community. One of you is Marian. And maybe you do the same introduction here.
Yeah, I'm Marian. I'm an independent consultant. I'm working with UI5 for about 4 years, a little bit more than 4 years. And I started with the community just to get started and how can I contribute back. And my main project, as you saw yesterday, right now is Best of UI5. But I'm everywhere, and I'm a full stack developer, so I also contributed to ABAP open source projects as well. For example, the Ecosystem project, when you heard about it.
And then there's Marco, a very active member, but not so visible in the community, in quotes, yet. So,
yeah, my name is Marco Beier. I'm also a full stack developer at Accenture, and I've been working with UI5 starting from 2017, I think. And yeah, whenever I see somewhere I can help in the open source community, I like and try to contribute to be Best of UI5 or one of the generators.
Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Yeah, one thing which comes out of my mind in the beginning is, Nitish mentioned it already. It's one of the starting points where the UI5 team and the community were working together. It's the UI5Lab. Nitish, how did it happen that this project has been started?
Yeah, I think it's been almost 5 years. 2017 is when this project really started. And I think I must credit Michael Graf, who believe, started and contributed most to the project. I think at a parallel time, I had moved out of SAP just, and I was exploring a lot of other technologies on JavaScript frameworks, ranging from React and other things, which introduced me to a lot of custom control libraries. So if you look at things, other JavaScript frameworks, you have libraries out there publicly. Since it's all open source, people come back and contribute. And I think that was one of the origination point for UI5Lab. And the idea was that apart from SAP's delivered controls, we let the custom controls developed by the committee be available for the community. In the end, it's all open UI5, but yeah, it was an idea to make it simpler to contribute. And I remember we presented once in 2018 at UI5con in Bangalore. That was the first time we talked about it, building some human generators. Not very different from the human generators today, but it was for specific cases back then.
It somehow laid a foundation for that, what came up later. But I think I said it already in the keynote, you were much ahead of time with that, because really the tooling and all the environmental part was not yet there. It did feel a little bit tweaky what you need to do to get the things running. And yeah.
And then, the question arises, you provide a certain central entry point for the community. You do it for free, in quotes. Marian, you're an independent consultant now. If you contribute something, what do you get out of it? Why do you do it?
Mostly experience and fun. Like, you wouldn't do something for fun. And I think we all developers, we like to develop. And if you have really good counterparts where you can develop together, in my case, it's Peter. Like, we really brought forward the best of UI5, and it was just really fun and working with UI5 and quote unquote being on bleeding edge, as I said yesterday, like using all the new components we can use with UI5, like TypeScript, like web components, like what we just saw from Jakob, those best of UI5 metadata and all the external components.
Yeah, and I think also you should not underestimate, because I just give you a hint at the end, that best of UI5 would be a great idea to have, and out of that you somehow grabbed it up and did a lot of things already to make it running, and we saw it yesterday. It's a great thing which is there. It's really born by the idea of the UI5 lab. We have to say this inspired me together with Best of JS. And then if people like you in the community really sitting there and bring in the thoughts and also bring in your work, then something like this could happen. Yeah, bring into work. Jacob, before you joined SAP, you were already pretty active. What motivated you?
Possibly my ADHD. So I tend to get very distracted and lose a lot of patience very quickly. So often I had some issues, and then I would go down a rabbit hole and try to figure out how to solve it. And I've sort of realized, well, if someone else has this issue, maybe it would be good to open that and contribute that back to the community. So that's how a lot of my middlewares and tasks came out to play, but also some of the issues that I've tried to solve on existing open source projects. For example, lack of proxy support for the UI5 language assistant.
Yeah, but it's not only that, right? It's also about writing blog posts and stuff like that. So you did also tremendous work on that.
And I have to say, yeah, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead, Volker.
I just wanted to say, I have to get in line here. For me, it's also the educational aspect mostly. So if I get something, if I get a hint of something, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but I probably will need it, contributing back to the community actually forces me to learn that and to really get deep into it. And I think that's also something like the bottom line that we've heard so far. Now, but for you, Marco, I mean, you're almost always the first to act on open UI5 tweets, on certain pull requests. You read through stuff. Yeah. How's the motivation for you?
Well, mostly the same. So I really like learning and really like gaining experience in things. And what's the best way to do that is to engage in the community. And in addition to that, the community makes it really easy for me because everyone is like so encouraging, respectful, and overall just welcoming.
Oh.
it's really easy to get into things, write an issue here, contribute some feedback there, and also know that it might help others. And in the long run, of course, when it comes to tooling, for example, it's really great that this can be used everywhere, not only open source, not only Open UI5, but just with the framework itself in general. It's just.
And that I might take that boomerang back literally to Jacob over down under. Did the contributions have a real world impact for you?
Well, my contributions has mainly been like helping people around me with having the same problems, and obviously something else. But like you mentioned blog posts, I've tried to blog a lot about my experience in regards to, for example, moving to VS Code local development from Web IDE back when we started at a former client of mine, handling a lot with component reuse. So again, it's about sharing those experiences. And when you start blogging about it, you need to understand what you're doing. So like, yeah, it really helps with you understanding more and be able to explain it to someone else. Secondly, like for me, I generally say that like when you ever have a problem on UI5, ask Google, because someone else has probably blogged about it. And that's the benefit of the community in essence.
The collective intelligence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Moving over to India, Nitish, what is your experience on the footprint you can do, and you lay down by do contributions to the community, what you get back? What is your thoughts on that?
I think for us, I would say we are a typical company outside SAP that is working on building products on UI5 technology, as well as working with customers on their own solutions. So when we try to set up our own landscapes, we're trying to make it as open as possible with GitHub, automated actions, build, automated tests, and tons of other things. So that has been done majorly because there was a community providing those tools. I mean, I can start from Grunt and Gulp ages, but right now the way we've come across with UI5 tooling, it's just spectacular. I think, and similarly, when we found some missing parts over there, we built our own. Like there was a string replacer package library that we built up, UI5 deploy, which just deploys to SAP on-premise systems and BTP systems directly from GitHub. So all those were built just as an addition to the community. And I think it definitely, when you look at the NPM package downloads on the best of UI5, it really gives you a good feeling that somewhere it's helping others as well.
Yeah, I would also really join the point that the UI5 tooling is really a quantum leap in the development experience, what we have done there. And with that openness, we really established a good foundation in working together.
But there's also an interesting point that you say we established a good foundation, because I have to honestly take it one step further. I have to say that I do not have any Personalverantwortung. I'm missing the English word now.
Management.
Yeah, so
HR?
I'm not involved in the
HR?
hiring process per se, but I interview candidates. And it's come to the point that I do not look at the resume first, but I look at the GitHub profile first. And if I see somebody not having a GitHub or GitLab profile or Atlassian profile, and if I see that person doesn't really have any substantial contributions into the open source world, and specifically probably UI5, then I don't want to say I have a pre-built opinion, but I have an opinion then already. And then only I look at the CV and continue from there on. And I don't know, what's it like with SAP? Has that become a part as well?
I'm not the one who is doing the interview, so we have to ask the managers maybe here from our side. Yeah, most probably yes. It could be a good idea also to look, but yeah, I'm not the one. Yeah, but bringing that the point because I never thought in that direction to also do a lookup like that. But was it also your interest, Marian, in joining the project that also did upskilling your profile finally?
It wasn't my main concern, because when I started the project, I was still in an employment. But at that time, my main focus was I wasn't really in a big UI5 project at the time. So my my concern was I really want to go back to UI5 development. So that was my main concern. But going back to your points, me as an independent consultant, like in the end, I have to sell myself. And how can I sell myself if I put myself out there? And if I can say, yeah, I contributed to that and that and that, like I recently did a Twitter post and a LinkedIn post, with all highlighting my contributions to all the open source projects. I got so much good feedback from that, and I actually got a new contract from that. So in the end, it's really about selling yourself as well. It's not like learning. I know that's good, but you can't live from your learning. You can live from money. And if you sell yourself, just not really good, you can, as an independent consultant, you can really go forward. And of course, if you just, in quotes, go to a new company, you can sell yourself even better than that. So
you recently switched jobs as well, Marco, right? Was your public profile with the contributions part of that?
No. Our
you
company.
were supposed to say yes.
Of course, definitely for sure. Big part.
I can say so. I was recently hired by SAP, as you know. So I started in March, and that came up that I was a public profile. So yeah, it has helped me on my career path as well. Absolutely.
How is it for you, Nitish, in INTEGRTR? Is it the same that you also check these GitHub profiles? Or did you...
Definitely. I think so. We work on a variety of JavaScript frameworks, and it kind of becomes a standard thing. So if you're working on React or UI5 or something else, it goes on a very similar pattern. And when you look at the openness that we have with UI5 and with UI5 web components, I think a lot of people who came up with React even experimented with the language and were able to kind of create a concoction with React inside UI5 and UI5 inside React. So yeah, the open source contributions, GitHub always is a key aspect whenever you're looking at a developer.
Okay. Yeah, Marco, I just want to also go back again to you, because I want to also make clear it's not always about contributing maybe the next best of UI5 project or something like that, or it's really about producing an awesome amount of code. In your case, it was really an interesting side part, because how we get connected, it was a bit special, right?
Yeah. It was early 2021, I think.
Yeah.
It came from a small Twitter rant about libraries and lacking documentation.
And we have to mention also Jan. He's I don't know, but if he's listening, we should also say, yeah, he's also part of that story.
Was a big part of it as well, yeah. And then we got talking under the tweet, and from there on out, it was a chain reaction, which led to the library generator.
And the library generator at the end led to an opening up of the easy UI5, which is used today very often. So also, I want to add really one thing, just a little piece. So such little peaks, they often also can, with these chain reactions, produce much more ideas out of that, which at the end produces maybe something even greater. And I think even with best of UI5, we are not yet at the end of the story. It's just the start of the story. And it's our way together at the end, how we shape that future.
And an interesting point here to take as well is that the contributions, you know, you hear contribution, you think, okay, a major functionality change, a major functionality addition, the latest upgrade in blah, 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 blah. But contributing, in my point, is at least as important for documentation. We learned that with VDI5, so there's a community project as well, but you would never pick it up if it would lack documentation. So writing documentation is really a major part. And it's fantastic if someone steps in, like some colleagues from SAP, for example, with VDI5, they contributed the entire chapter on the testing library integration. That's really substantial, and that's a good write-up. And without that, I think the adoption wouldn't have been the same that it is right now already. So saying that contribution or contributing means not code necessarily, also documentation is very welcome.
Documentation, also rollout, speak up, share the knowledge. I think it's in English, it's called the word of the word of mouth. Is it like that? Yeah. Always a bit strange, yeah. But the word of mouth is really the most important part in how to sell technologies to others, and it's still the case, even if we are that modern. And that's why I really would like to encourage all of you. Speak up loud, share the things. UI5 is evolving. The community is there. I think we are really open for contribution, and it shows it. So how many people are here, being a part of that story. And I think this is really the great success of that, what we have all achieved with that, right?
Yeah, and it's always important, as you've heard now from the panelists here, it has a real world impact. It's not just, or it's not only a philosophical approach of sorts, it also has real world implications. And that's even important to know.
Yeah, and even little things you never would consider that it changes the world, but it had a huge impact on, because I would say, from that what we have seen, at least there were many things which have been an outcome of a little tweet at the end, a little peak. I think that's a applause word, because it's most often these things. Yeah, I think basically we are at the end. We had 20 minutes. This was a kind of a new format. I hope you liked it. Thanks for our guests. We have Nitish from India. It's late already. We have Jacob from Australia. It's even later already. Is it morning already?
It's 20 past 11 here. So
okay.
I'll be woken up in about 5 hours of my kids.
Okay, so we won't take too much longer now. And thanks to Marian, thanks to Marco, and also thanks to you, Volker.
Thanks to you, Peter. Now go home.
Yeah, bye.